Hey guys, Elias is here. Welcome back to yet another informative coverage of our diverse topics in this channel. And thank you for always creating time to watching my content. Today, we will tackle something a lot of you have asked me to share more about: the Amazon job interviews. You're probably aware of the STAR method, the situation, task, action, result, and its importance in the Amazon interview. But I wanted to talk about a different method, my personal favorite, the DIGS method, and why I think it's way better than the STAR. So make sure to watch to the end, and trust me, you'll be twice as smarter with your approach to job interviews by the end of it. Anyone who has ever sought a job has attended an interview. And let's be honest, no one likes interviews. The thing is, you never know what to expect. So here's a use case. You're interviewing for, say, an AWS Solutions Architect role, and things are going pretty well. You didn't get lost on your way to the office. You made some friendly small talk with the hiring manager, with everyone, and you're nailing your answers to the questions you're being asked. And just when you start thinking you have this in the bag, you hear the interviewer say, "All right, tell me about a time when..." And that's when your stomach drops, you rack your brain for something, anything you can use as an example, and finally stumble your way through an anecdote that only sort of satisfies the prompt. Now, let's cut the chase. There is a strategy you can use to come up with more impressive answers, and that's where the STAR interview method comes in a long way. STAR stands for, as we mentioned before, situation, task, action, and result. And the STAR interview technique offers a straightforward format you can use to answer behavioral interview questions. You are required to briefly give the interviewer the story's background. That's the situation, right? And the task that you had to execute. You're required to talk about the specific actions you took, and at the end, the result of your action. Over time, the STAR method became standard for interviews, and Amazon interviews are no different. You will be asked a lot of behavioral questions in these interviews. This is because it can be an important tool for providing context behind the major and the minor wins in your career. Not only will the STAR interview method help you stand out, it's also an effective way to show the interviewer that you've got the skills for the job and the results to prove it. And because each behavioral interview question requires you to share a specific story highlighting your strength and your skills, thoughtful preparation can help you feel confident. So make sure to prepare a few situations in advance to be able to tell a concise story in 2 to 3 minutes, not more. And for more information on the same, remember to watch this video here and learn more about the interview process at AWS. And for those interested in learning more about the Take You program, for example, you can watch this second video as well. You know that Amazon is famous for its leadership principles, like learn and be curious, like hire and develop the best, or earn trust, be frugal. So let me give you a few examples of behavioral interview questions relevant to Amazon. Around the customer obsession, you might get questions like, "Please walk us through a time when you helped a customer through a difficult process and what that looked like." For a question about frugality, you might expect a question like, "Please tell me a time when you came up with a solution to save some cost for a customer." Remember that being frugal is not about being cheap. Being frugal is mostly about accomplishing more with less. So demonstrating a clever way to save money for a company is pretty cool. So in answering these behavioral questions for an Amazon interview, pick a situation that relates to, one or multiple 16 Amazon leadership principles, as we've mentioned, because by having you share an example from your past, what the interviewer hope is to deduce how you might perform on the job in the future. Because it's only reasonable to expect that if you were put in a similar situation in the future, well, you would do not worse than how you performed in the past. Now, that being said, the STAR method has its shortcomings as well. And to me, after interviewing hundreds of candidates in my career, inside AWS and outside AWS, following this STAR method just feels boring. It feels like reading a flavorless script. I mean, don't get me wrong, it definitely helps the structure of the story, which is great. But if it's a story we're telling in this interview, if the interviewer is giving you their time and attention, is there a way to make it worthwhile? Is there a way to make it a little bit more interesting? After all, we're humans, right? And humans, we are suckers for good stories. That's when I stumbled upon the other side of the coin, the DIGS method. Now, the DIGS method stands for dramatize the situation, indicate the alternatives, go through what you did, and then summarize your impact. And don't worry, if it feels foreign, just keep watching. I have a real life example at the end of the video. But now that I have your attention, I just like to remind you to hit that like button, click the subscribe button, because that helps the channel tremendously, and it also pushes this video to other people so they can enjoy it as well. Thank you. Entertaining and captivating stories usually have a dramatic dilemma. That is why in this method, you need to dramatize and amplify the story first. Details and context are imperative when crafting a narrative about why your job, why your project, or why your product matters. Statistically, at Amazon, from 200 resumes, only 2 will see their way towards the hiring manager's desk. So you have to differentiate yourself one way or another. And with DIGS, you're emphasizing the issues that were conducive to reaching goals and problem solving. Secondly, the approach suggests that you indicate the alternative. That's the I. The interviewer needs to understand why the choices that you made were best with respect to the alternative solutions. So describing other possible solutions can help you and your final solution to stand out. Not doing so, it just makes your choice seem expected and ordinary. Therefore, strive to pose 3 other alternatives to make the listener feel informed but not overwhelmed, right? And it will be a bonus point if you can describe the pros and cons of each approach. This will show the analytical traits that hiring managers usually look for. Thirdly, you want to describe what you did. Right? That's what the STAR method calls action. The interviewer should get a front row seat to the replay. What happened first? Who did you call? How did they respond? Did you get any resistance? This helps the listener get an idea of how involved you were and the ways in which you influenced the situation. This is about you. Remember that. And finally, the number 4 is to summarize the impact. Because the best stories often conclude by recapping the main actions and their impact on the overall situation. Tell your listener how you made a lasting difference and how your action benefited the business. Provide concrete details, such as numbers and percentages to support the account. Try and provide qualitative statements from an executive or a customer who thought you excelled. These are the type of specifics that reinforce your decision-making skills. In my opinion, I find the DIGS method way better than the STAR method, because most of candidates mechanically nowadays apply STAR, which I think it sucks away the appeal. You know, the interview becomes so dull, so boring, so tasteless. Now, as I promised, I wouldn't leave you without a concrete example of the DIGS method, so let's play this on. The interviewer will ask, tell me about a time when something didn't go as planned. Your answer as a candidate following the DIGS method might be something like this. My boss, Tom, stormed into my office one day. He said, Mike has a family emergency. You'll have to pitch the new product feature to our leading client. If you don't secure $50 million deal, we'll have to lay off 30% of the company. Now, I am exaggerating. I am being a little bit theatrical, but you get the gist. There's drama, there's details, there's possible impact in a single statement that would get the interviewer really eager to see you through how the situation was resolved. And so you would continue like this, indicating the alternatives this time. So the interviewer would say, how did you handle this situation? And you would answer saying, well, I told my boss we had other options for sure. We could have convinced the clients to further push the timeline so that Mike could get back. But that would have compromised the overarching timeline that had been planned for the product launch. It would have been convenient for us as a company, but who knows? We would have lost the deal to our competitor. In the end, being a good, team player, I pulled my magic card and saved the day. And that's probably where the interviewer would, say something like, okay, go on, what is this magic card? So you continue. With all the pressure on my neck and the fate of almost half of my fellow employees hanging by a thread, I knew I had to do all that I could do to make it happen. I canceled the hiking tour I had planned with my friends because I had to work through the weekend, Sunday included, right? Come Monday, I was ready and the presentation went well, better than what my superiors expected. And then you could continue. Please forgive the bad acting. I am exaggerating, trying to make this a little bit fun, but I hope you get the idea of what I'm doing here. So you could answer them saying, well, not only did I save the day, but I also saved careers and I gained a lot of respect across the company. In fact, I got a pay raise, I was promoted, serving in the same capacity as Mike, who has been exceptional, by the way, in helping me grow in this line of work. And at the end of the year, my former company posted the highest profits in over a decade, meaning the annual bonus for all employees also doubled. And, it was a great year indeed. So you see what I did there? Instead of it becoming question, answer, now it's engaging, it's interesting, it has details, it has emotions. You're connecting with the interviewer on a whole different level. Right now, they start to imagine how you would, in future situations, if future similar situations would happen, they have a pretty good idea about how you would react. And please don't get me wrong, I'm not saying invent stuff and lie. All I'm saying is take what you have done and change a little bit the way that you want to present it in order to be unique, in order to build that personal connection with your interviewer. And that's all I have for you guys in today's video. If you found it helpful, show me some love by clicking the subscribe icon below and hit the like button. Also, feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section below. Some of you might think that I'm pushing people to lie in their interviews. Please get this right, I am not. Change the format you present yourself, not the content. You still need to be genuine, you still need to talk about only the things that you know that you did. It's just the way to present them. So that was it. Feel free to let me know what you think in the comments and see you guys in the next video. Peace out.